Timmy was a boy of boundless curiosity and vivid imagination. His days were filled with adventures, but none could prepare him for what he was about to discover one rainy afternoon. It all began in his grandmother's attic, a treasure trove of forgotten relics, old furniture, and dusty memories. Timmy loved exploring the attic. It was like stepping into a different world every time. One particularly gloomy day, with the rain pelting against the windows, Timmy decided to venture into the attic once more. He navigated through the maze of old trunks, dodging cobwebs and sneezing from the dust. That's when he saw it, an old, wooden box he had never noticed before. It was tucked away in a corner, partially hidden under a pile of old blankets. Intrigued, Timmy pulled the box out and blew off the dust. The wood was intricately carved with patterns that seemed to dance in the dim light. With a sense of excitement, he carefully lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in a bed of velvet, was a paintbrush. It didn't look like any ordinary paintbrush. Its handle was made of polished wood, and the bristles shimmered with a golden hue. Timmy's eyes widened in awe. He picked up the brush, feeling a strange tingle in his fingertips. It felt as if the brush was alive, pulsing with a magical energy. He couldn't resist the urge to try it out. He found an old sketchbook nearby and dipped the brush in some paint that had miraculously remained fresh in the box. His first stroke was hesitant, but as he painted, he felt the brush guiding his hand. He painted a simple flower, and to his astonishment, the flower began to glow and then lifted off the page. It floated in midair, petals swaying gently as if caught in a breeze. Timmy blinked in disbelief, rubbing his eyes to ensure he wasn't dreaming. "This is incredible," he exclaimed, his voice echoing in the attic. He spent the rest of the afternoon experimenting with the paintbrush. He painted birds that chirped and flew around the attic, a butterfly that fluttered gracefully, and even a small puppy that barked happily and wagged its tail. Each creation sprang to life with vibrant energy, making the attic feel like a magical menagerie. When evening fell, Timmy reluctantly put the brush back in its box and hid it under his bed. He couldn't wait to continue his magical experiments the next day. Little did he know, his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. Chapter 1: The Power of Creation. The next morning, Timmy woke up with a sense of anticipation. He hurried through breakfast, barely able to contain his excitement. His parents noticed his unusual behavior but chalked it up to his usual adventurous spirit. As soon as he could, Timmy rushed back to his room and retrieved the magical paintbrush. He decided to paint something bigger. With careful strokes, he painted a beautiful garden, complete with colorful flowers, tall trees, and a sparkling pond. As he finished, the entire scene came to life, transforming his room into a lush, vibrant paradise. The flowers swayed gently, birds sang melodiously, and the pond shimmered under the sunlight streaming through the window. Timmy was overjoyed. He spent hours exploring his new garden, marveling at the detail and realism of his creation. He played with the animals, smelled the flowers, and even tasted a ripe apple from a tree he had painted. Everything felt so real, so magical. But as the day wore on, Timmy began to realize the responsibility that came with his newfound power. The garden needed care, flowers wilted if not tended to, and the animals grew hungry. He spent the entire day maintaining his creation, realizing that with great power came great responsibility. Chapter 2: The Unintended Consequences. As days turned into weeks, Timmy's creations grew more elaborate. He painted entire landscapes, populated with people, animals, and fantastical creatures. His room became a gateway to countless worlds, each more magical than the last. But as his creations multiplied, so did the challenges. One day, Timmy painted a dragon, thinking it would be a fun addition to his collection. The dragon was magnificent, with gleaming scales and fiery breath. But as soon as it sprang to life, it became clear that controlling a dragon was no small feat. The creature's fiery breath singed the curtains, and its massive wings knocked over furniture. Panicked, Timmy tried to paint the dragon back into the sketchbook, but the creature resisted, its eyes blazing with defiance. It took all of Timmy's concentration and effort to finally subdue the dragon and return it to the page. He realized then that his powers were not without limits and that some creations were too powerful to control. Chapter 3: The Mysterious Stranger. Word of Timmy's magical abilities began to spread, though he tried to keep it a secret. One day, a mysterious stranger arrived at his doorstep. The man was tall, with a long, flowing cloak and piercing eyes that seemed to see right through Timmy. "I've heard of your talents," the stranger said, his voice smooth and commanding. "I am an artist too, and I possess a similar gift. But I must warn you, young one, that such power can be dangerous if not used wisely." Timmy was taken aback. He had never met anyone else with a magical paintbrush. "Who are you?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. "I am known as the Master Painter," the man replied. "I have spent my life mastering the art of magical painting. I can teach you to control your powers, to create without chaos." Timmy hesitated. The stranger's offer was tempting, but something about him felt off. "Why would you help me?" he asked. The master painter's eyes gleamed. "Because I see great potential in you. Together, we can create wonders beyond imagination." Chapter 4: The Lesson. Despite his reservations, Timmy agreed to learn from the master painter. The lessons were intense, pushing Timmy to his limits. He learned to focus his energy, to control the brush with precision, and to imbue his creations with purpose and balance. Under the master painter's guidance, Timmy's skills improved dramatically. He created entire worlds with ease, each one more intricate and beautiful than the last. But as his power grew, so did his doubts. The master painter's teachings were strict, often harsh, and Timmy began to suspect that his mentor had ulterior motives. One day, while practicing in the attic, Timmy stumbled upon an old journal hidden among the clutter. It belonged to the master painter, filled with notes and sketches. As Timmy flipped through the pages, he discovered a dark secret. The master painter had once used his powers for selfish gain, creating chaos and destruction. Horrified, Timmy confronted his mentor. "You lied to me," he exclaimed. "You used your powers for evil." The master painter's expression darkened. "I did what I had to survive," he said coldly. "Power is neither good nor evil, it is the wielder's intent that matters. Remember that, Timmy." Chapter 5: The Final Test. With a heavy heart, Timmy decided to part ways with the master painter. He realized that he needed to forge his own path, to use his powers for good. But before he could leave, the master painter issued a final challenge. If you truly wish to master your powers, you must face your greatest fear, he said. Paint the one thing you have always feared and confront it. Timmy knew what he had to do. With trembling hands, he painted a dark, stormy night, with lightning flashing and thunder rumbling. From the storm emerged a shadowy figure, a manifestation of Timmy's deepest fears and insecurities. The shadow loomed over him, its eyes glowing with malice. Timmy felt a surge of fear, but he stood his ground. He raised the paintbrush, channeling all his courage and determination. With a swift stroke, he painted a beam of light, piercing through the darkness and dispelling the shadow. The storm subsided, and the attic was filled with a warm, golden light. Timmy felt a sense of peace and clarity. He had faced his fear and emerged victorious. Chapter 6: The New Beginning. With his newfound confidence, Timmy continued to create, but with a greater sense of responsibility and purpose. He used his powers to bring joy and wonder to those around him, creating beautiful landscapes and fantastical creatures that delighted everyone who saw them. Word of Timmy's talents spread far and wide, and soon, people from all over came to see his creations. He held exhibitions, where he taught others the importance of imagination, creativity, and responsibility. Timmy's room became a place of magic and wonder, where dreams came to life and anything was possible. Years later, as Timmy grew older, he passed on the magical paintbrush to a young, aspiring artist, just as curious and imaginative as he had once been. He taught them the same lessons he had learned, ensuring that the magic of the paintbrush would continue to inspire and create wonder for generations to come. Timmy's journey had come full circle. He had discovered the magic within himself, faced his fears, and learned the true meaning of creativity and responsibility. His story became a legend, a tale of a boy and his magical paintbrush, and the incredible adventures they had together. And so, the magic lived on, in the hearts and minds of those who dared to dream and create, proving that with imagination and courage, anything was possible.